Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Zoot here, I'm joined by Ince, and we're going to be taking you through the Dreamhack Winter 2017 recap of the Quake Champions Invitational. To start things off, Ince, I just want to say a big thanks to Agent, who coincidentally has just hosted for a whole bunch of viewers. So massive thanks, Agent, if you're watching. And to commemorate this moment, Ince, I'd also like to share with you what I'm sure I know you've just seen. Just a quick little comparison shot. What I wanted to talk about actually very early on is one of my favorite bits of DreamHack Winter, and is the fact that I got a picture with Agent. Well, after all these years, Ince, that we've had this animosity, love, and hate between ourselves and Agent, it's now compiled itself into some gorgeous amount of face-to-face respect. So this is the picture I got. I'm obviously really excited. You can see me smiling gormlessly there. And then someone decided that they were going to decorate the image themselves and make their own version.
Balls
so
out.
Maybe slight NSFW. And what's even better is the Spult picture went up at the same time on stream. So massive thanks DM6 for the 3 months, by the way. But I'll put that picture away now before someone in the office gets shouted at. So thank you, Agent.
That's a lovely picture. That picture with you and Agent is easily the best picture of Agent we've ever seen, actually. Because the one on stream wasn't that good. He didn't seem to be really happy. But just alongside you, he had a smile on his face.
He looked good in this picture, right? He looks decent. Look at him there. He's a stylish guy. I was scared that I was going to have a little hover hand, so I decided I won't put my arm around him or anything. So I might do a little nervous thing.
Balls out.
Kind of, holy crap, what's with these balls out there, man? Tungsten, man. 4 months in a row. Cheers, bro. This pick. Well, we don't know. Anyway, let's try and move forward a little bit. I did say I wanted to speak about one of my favorite parts of DreamHack Winter, and genuinely getting a picture of Agent is like a big highlight for me. What's your kind of what was your highlight? I'm sure I can guess.
My highlight.
You had some great moments this DreamHack Winter.
I had some. Actually, it was for me personally, it was a really great DreamHack. I was just going there as a spectator. I ended up really well for me with some money and everything. So that was definitely a highlight.
I know, right? You signed up to the BYOC for Duel. I think you had a bit of a blast there, but you signed up.
I went versus Faz in like the first round, and then I lost to Strengths after 3 or 4 games in the loser bracket.
Yeah, fair dues. And then you made a team with Avik, Vu, and Kilson called
Avik.
It was like,
it was called Avik. Yeah, it was. I think that was your idea, right?
It was my idea to be called Avik, but then I think it was Kilson's idea to make all the letters uppercase apart from yours.
apart from mine.
Apart from I, obviously. So I thought that was a great contribution there.
Brilliant.
So $2.5 grand you took home personally for doing that, which is awesome. And I also gather you had other parts of the tournament that were great as well. But
yeah, it was nice to hang out with all the kids again.
The kids.
Yes.
I've even prepared a little bit try hard at the moment in terms of what I've got in front of me. In fact, I've got so many like white windows in front of me. You can see my face blinded on camera. But I wanted to talk about some good performances that we saw throughout the tournament, because it was action-packed.
Are we gonna start with like the surprises?
No.
Or the best performances?
I want to talk about the really positive. You know what? The kind of like the shit sandwich that people do, where like you put the really good stuff in, then you put like then we can like flame people, and then we put some good stuff in at the end. You know what I mean?
I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's the feedback shit sandwich. People will understand. There's actually quite a lot of really good things that happened. I want to kind of start off actually by talking about not even the players, because I really enjoy actually working with the DreamHack guys. So in terms of like the production people, there's a producer, Martin, who's one of the funniest people I know, and he makes working as a caster really enjoyable. Of course, Matt Weber as well, who is kind of the brains behind getting all the things done, working alongside 04 also makes things so easy and pleasant to work with. And I want to shout out actually to Jahar's hosting skills, who's now his second event that he's hosting, and I think he's getting better and better, and I think like above loads of people I've seen trying to pull off the hosting feat. He does an amazing job, and I wish I was as quick-witted as him as well. So that's I wasn't even talking about players, and there you go. I probably bored you to death there, but
a little bit, yeah. But everyone there from like the production crew and the admins crew was pretty cool. I was pretty happy to meet Slaza because I talked with him online a lot. I already had met Snell and the rest of the guys, but I actually didn't know Slaza was Slaza until like 20 minutes before I left, because he just like we talked in some corner. He's like, "Oh, we didn't really have a chance to talk. I'm Slaza," and I'm like, "Oh, so you're Slaza." And I apologized for always joking with him online.
Yeah, I like Slaza just now actually there. I didn't get to speak to them so much this time. I've spoken to quite a lot at Denver, but not so much at Winter. But yeah, they're a great couple of guys working hard on the adminning side. In terms of best performances, God, I mean, like over and all, you kind of got to give it to Dahang. But if we kind of like go through the road of the tournament, I want to give a shout out to the WinRAR guys, who seem to have conquered a couple of demons. They actually took a map off Stacked. They didn't get into top 4, unfortunately, but we saw a lot of players that were previously struggling on LAN actually doing really, really well.
Yeah.
So they're growing into it a bit.
Yeah, and specifically the Liz from WinRAR. He was definitely a player that was like highlighted a lot negatively by the community due to their performances offline, but in this LAN he was really playing really, really well.
He was top damaging for his team, I think, going versus Stacked. He was being a beast. I mean, I was watching the game from the player area. You could also see the communication between the team was looking more and more. They just kind of seemed generally more stable. Obviously, would have loved to have seen them go further, but I think it's a kind of, a performance they probably needed for them, like just going into the next stages of Quake Champions. Sparty in WinRAR, what a grind he had to get through the BYOC in the duel, playing the sacrifice as well. I think he was going till something like 3 in the morning on day 1 night. He topped his group in the end, and unfortunately didn't make it very far in the playoff brackets, but the fact that he like got there to the playoffs is just like, I was kind of blown away by that.
Yeah, it's Sparty, He did the same on QuakeCon, went there to the BIC and managed to go through in his group, and then in the playoffs he fell short, but still a very impressive road nonetheless.
Yeah, no, indeed. I would have loved to have seen him go further, but I gather there was maybe 1 or 2 issues. I'm not sure. Sly Guy, 3 months. I'll take your balls out. Cheers, bro. I also want to give a shout out to Agent. I've already spoken about Agent loads and loads, but he actually played his first international LAN, and he had what was considered a group of death. Let me have a look here. I got all these wonderful things right over here.
Agent, the Hang, Avec, and the Sparty. That was most definitely the group of death.
And if the Hang managed to beat Sparty, I think he could have gone through as well on tiebreakers.
They had the really weird 3-way tie or 4-way tie there.
I'm not sure it's a 4-way, but
I don't know. I just know it was anyone could have gone through at some point.
And also, Agent played against Dahang in the group stages on stage, and
it was like a 3-hour game, wasn't it?
A 3-hour game.
Because I don't remember seeing all of it, but I watched like the first map. I went to have dinner and came back like an hour later, and it was still going on. So that took a while.
Balls out. I don't think it definitely wasn't 3 hours. It's not. Hang on a sec, guys. Apologies, you won't see much for a second. I'm just telling. I'm a bit ill, which is why my voice might seem a bit down at the moment. The balls out. Keep coming. I enjoy your work at Dreamhack, bro. Love you, man. Merry Christmas. Thank you very much, Alphabet. Thank you. I'm still recovering actually from. Did you get ill after Dreamhack?
Me, no.
Oh, really? Oh, damn you. Yeah, so I hope that we see Agent at more international lands in the future, and I
Yep.
hope that he's gained a bit of confidence from that. Obviously, he would have loved to have taken some money home, but it's not for everyone. But I think we can still give it a good performance. I know even he's been questioned in the past for not ever showing to his face at international lands, despite having a very strong skill level. And obviously groups could be crazy, and if you're in another group, then other possibilities are viable. Did I have more people to talk about? Wins also in Team Liquid.
Yep. I think everyone of Team Liquid played really well on Sacrifice.
So. You're
like
right,
Rafa was like topping the damage in most games, and the Hang, his clutch play was phenomenal. Was that insane? I think everyone in Team Liquid was spot on.
Yeah, they were stunning. Waz as well. I was talking to him a lot, and he's like, "I've never prepared for an event so hard in my life." I mean, he really, really, really wanted to win the Sacrifice. I like even the Hang, the way that he was composing himself on camera, and even the way that he actually shed emotion during wins and losses and just generally playing. I saw a video that on Reddit that was made documenting just a couple of things that the Team Liquid guys were doing, and the Hang actually looks really a lot more engaged and sort of emotionally engaged in the matches and reacting accordingly, where he used to be kind of a stone face. And
I mean, for us, yeah,
wins and losses never faced him.
Because he doesn't really get involved with the community that much.
But he still, when he wins a game, he's kind of like, doesn't really seem bothered or excited. When he loses a game, he's like, you kind of, it's almost as if he's kind of been scared a little bit to release any kind of emotion. But this time we saw him crack a little bit, and it was nice to see. And obviously, like, winning the duel and the Sacrifice is massive props. So 2 major tournaments, and the duel winner has also won the Sacrifice, which is
as it
far
happened
as my
in Quake
stats go. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's as far as my stats will go.
I'd like to also.
Unless you consider Denver a major, I don't know. Like, at what point do we say major, minor? Like, no, I don't know. Does it have to be over hundreds of thousands of dollars to be a major? I haven't got a clue.
I'd also like to compliment T Good on this performance, especially versus 2Z. He was playing damn well there.
Yeah, fair enough. I found it really difficult to keep an eye on like individual players. I saw his damage was looking good. There might have been one point where I noticed, his damage doesn't look great there, but I know damage boards are like slightly bugged sometimes on
like,
the
we're
stage.
talking about damage, but I don't think people at home had this to look at, because like in the stage we had like 4 screens on top of each player, which would say which champion everyone was playing, their health, their armor, their speed as well, and there was speedometer that was really cool, and their ammunition on the weapon they were using, and also at the side of each team there was like the damage counter, which would just tell you what damage everyone was doing, so it was easier to get a nice feel of what everyone was trying to do in the game.
Yeah. And speaking of damage, people like Silent Sep playing Sorlag, and despite 2Z having quite a disappointing run in Sacrifice, holy crap, Silent Sep played out of his mind.
Yeah. Silent Sep was top 10. I remember, like, in the game versus Tech, after the first round, they had to remake the lobby, but after the first round, Silent Sep, like, everyone was at like 4K on damage, and Silent Sep, even after the first map was finished, which was just one more round, he was like 3K ahead of everyone.
Yeah.
By being 4K behind, and Zron as well in the last 2 maps was just killing people left, right, and center.
Zron and Silent Sep and 2Z, I think, are people that we can speak very highly of in the way that they prepared for the tournament.
Yeah, they had really good performances as well in each show.
And Zron didn't do too badly in Duel, despite preparing a lot more for Sacrifice. He did pretty well, getting top 8 again, like at QuakeCon.
Yeah.
So, very nice from him. He went down to Rafa, which is no shame in that at all.
After taking down Cooler.
Yeah, exactly. So that was very decent. I know Bus Driver, the damage was wrong, but that's because there were certain times there were restarts as well, and like it was sometimes it was accurate and then sometimes it wasn't.
Yeah, I know. But I was like counting when it was doing telefrags or not. Because Wins at some point had like 40k in one map, but he had done 2 telefrags. So even with the 2 telefrags, which was like minus 16k, he was like 7k damage above everyone else, which was just ridiculous.
I guess, I mean, I haven't got it written down, but Astro Boy, he had a great tournament as well, didn't he? He didn't have to jump
He
into a
did.
lake.
And I mean,
Did you see the lake jumping from Zeneku?
oh no, I didn't.
You didn't? Oh, you missed a
I
great
didn't.
video.
I'd rather not see that, or I'll just get like really cold again. It's just really cold in Sweden. I don't want to have to go through that feeling again.
If you haven't seen it, I'll explain. Zeneku and Astro Boy had a bet with each other. For Astro Boys, if I don't get out of groups, I'll jump into a lake in my pants. And Zeneku said, if I don't get out of BYOC, I'll jump into a lake in my pants, which was, I'd say, a more risky bet for Zeneku.
Yeah.
I think he just wanted to jump into a lake at that point, given how
that must
stacked
be
things
it,
were
right?
getting.
Why else would you make that bet?
Yeah. But still, you know, he owned up, he did it. He pulled through, and I think fair enough. And I hope that we'll keep seeing those guys at events. But yeah, seriously cool for Astro Boy to continue getting good run. What was his position? Top 8 himself? Yeah, top 8 in the end. Astro Boy.
Yeah, because he
Brilliant.
went to out of the brackets and beat Sparty, I think, 2-1 or something. And then he lost to Cypher, but he also took a map from Cypher.
I want to go. I'm sure we're gonna like go into tangents at some point, and we'll pick up some other details and stuff. But I want to talk about surprises now. It can be, you know, positive, negative, however you want to see it. The first surprise I think is Maestro. No one making it out of groups, not sacrifice, not duel. And I think you even told me, despite every event they've attended, they've always had at least someone in the final. So
I didn't know you can't win every time.
Yeah.
That was like so far in Quake Champions, despite like all of the tournament winners being really different throughout each event, there was always a Maestro guy up there. This time it didn't happen.
Yeah. So they were out of it quite soon, which is a big shame for Maestro. But I'm sure they're crack on. I know that they've just gone and announced a lot of people that are doing some work for them as well. So seems that things are still continuing. I was also surprised to see actually how much champion variety we saw in the duel towards the later stages, considering the EU meta seemed pretty damn defined as Nyx, Anarchy, and Doomslayer, with an occasional sprinkling of Slash.
Speaking of champion variety, there's two things I want to point out. The Hang playing an off-meta champion and winning the tournament. And Sox, despite playing 3 champions throughout the whole tournament, decides to go to the final with like 2 tanks.
So he brought the Scale Bearer out, man.
Yeah,
that was one of the most exciting
really well.
things me and ZSX casting it. We're like,
I mean,
wow,
he's really good at Scale Bearer. He's really good at anything, but maybe don't change your plan right for the grand final.
Well, I think one of the Tox is in fact in my list as well, so I'll go to that tangent right now as we seem to be on it. I was surprised at how he failed to adapt in the final, and how he failed to recognize that really my successes are with Sorlag, especially going up with some of the early champions used by Dahang. And even then, when he eventually went to Sorlag first pick, which is like the penultimate round, he won it, and then he went back over to Slash first pick or something.
Yeah.
And he did it for like 2 maps in a row. He was just playing Sorlag right, and then I think Corrupted Keep he got crushed on, and he always did like Scale Bearer first, and then what was the second pick, like Nyx or something, and then he went over to Sorlag, and every time he went to Sorlag he started getting kills. So yeah, I thought it was disappointing that, although we've got to say that Tox had played a lot of Quake in the day at that point.
Yep.
You know, I'm not going to just like say, God damn man, you're such an idiot. But I just feel like if he just like slight alteration, you know, I think the final could have gone quite differently. I think that the Hang probably would have won in the end regardless, but I think that Tox could have made it closer. And the fact that it was a Swede playing in Sweden in the grand final of such a big tournament, I thought that was pretty neat.
That is true. That's actually the only game Tox lost in duel, because he went out the groups with like 3-0, so he went straight to like the quarterfinals.
You're actually right, yeah. He won absolutely everything. Actually, I want to look at
now his counterpart, the Hang. Since we were on him, he had like quite a rough run, because that was the only clean game the Hang had in duel. Like in Sacrifice, they did not drop any map versus anyone, but in duel, all of the Hang wins were 2-1, and they even lost the game 2-0 versus Party. So it was like 2-1 versus Agent, 2-1 versus Avek, lost 2-0 versus Party, then 2-1 Boo, 2-1 Kilson, 2-1 Rafa. Then he gets a clean 3-0 versus Toxic.
You know that
And all of the other games were extremely close. Lost versus Avek, versus Boo, versus Kilson, and versus Rafa. But he pulled through in the end.
Do you know that every single game in the playoffs, apart from Noxus Pikawa and the grand final, were 2-1? That's pretty.
Nice.
That's pretty interesting, right? I mean, there was a lot of games that went back and forth over there. Also, got to say, the top 4 players all played Slash. Quite a lot more than they played other, maybe other picks. That's something to note. That Slash possibly more of a standout performer than expected, whereas Anarchy is often seen as like the specialist champion that is pretty OP. But the Hang and, you know, who knows, if Rafa was on the other side of the bracket having Slash and Clutch, maybe we could have seen a double American final. And I could say a surprise was that when you got to the semi-finals, it was always NA versus EU in terms of guaranteed final result.
Thought that was cute.
Same in Sacrifice. Where is it in the Sacrifice? You can see it here. Team Liquid, modus operandi. Winner goes versus either 2Z or Stacked. Should we move over to the disappointments? We could do that, couldn't we? How do you feel about this, Ince? You're like lounged in the bottom left of your camera, by the way. Alright, I think he's actually just lagged out. I thought he was just ignoring me because he does that sometimes. But I'm certain we're still live, so I'll carry on while Ince sorts out what's going on. I was like, yeah, Ince, I know it's cool to ignore you, but, you know, don't worry. Just, you know, if you could answer my questions at least, that would be nice. That's a shame. I really wanted Ince around when I was discussing this stuff because I know he'd have a lot to contribute. And it's just as I was building up to the more dramatic part of the recap. Although I had a lot of other points to make. I crossed the line. Yes. I think someone asked about Defrag World Cup. By the way, I did the round 4 yesterday. I'm going to get the VOD up as well tonight, I hope. Ince, please don't go. How can I don't know what that is. Ince cam. Alright. If I leave and then call him again. It says he's still there. One second. He says, coming back, lights went out. Alright guys, we'll get into in a moment. I want to talk about actually one thing regarding the live audience. Because I think on day 1, it wasn't amazing at all. Holy crap, Edge Crusher's just subscribed. Thank you very much, Ed Crusher. Welcome. Yeah, I wanted to talk about the live audience. Day 1 wasn't amazing. The Quake Champions stage was quite far out of the way. It was past H1Z1, it was past CSGO, and I was like, oh, this is going to be hard to really fill a lot of seats. But then day 2 and 3, I was really blown away that actually a lot of people were turning up and watching, and it wasn't just like the players or the players' wives or anything like that. There was a whole bunch of people watching and a whole bunch of people enjoying it as well, which for me was one of the big factors. Biscuit Powered, what a name, has subscribed. Welcome, Biscuit Powered. Thank you very much. And apparently at the Twitch after party, someone tapped me on the shoulder and said, how does it feel to be on Danish national TV? So apparently I don't know if Duel and Sacrifice, but Duel at least was on Danish national TV. So that's also pretty neat. I was like, freaking cool. I don't know if like the Danish people actually like tuned in for it, but I hope so. And actually, the stream itself, like, oh, have I got Ints back? Hang on, guys, I might have him back in a moment.
Yeah, I
Are
think
you
so.
there? You getting your camera up?
Yeah.
All right, all
I
right.
not just love it when stuff's going well and then lights go out. It's amazing. I
Yeah,
love it.
that's not positive. But we got you. We got you, and it's okay. I was just saying something. Yeah, I was talking about how actually smooth the stream went. There was a few technical hiccups along the way, but it's hard to avoid in pretty much any esport. But overall, we didn't really go late on the stream or, have crazy delays or anything like that. And we had
stream-wise, it's pretty good.
we had Twitch plays Quake World as well.
Yeah, at Twitch chat, you're all terrible.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
they
honestly,
weren't
get
good
some skill.
But I mean, it's quite a lot to ask from Twitch chat to do that. But I thought it was a neat thing.
When it was like the first Twitch play, which was like Pokemon or something, didn't Twitch chat complete like Pokemon Red in like 3 weeks or something?
I don't know. It might have been longer than that. I can't remember.
I don't care. I can't complete Pokemon Red in a year. And if 10,000 people can coordinate themselves to do it, you guys can't even pass a level of Quake World. Guys, please.
Yeah, true. It didn't always work, the Quake World, but when it did look like very, very hard work to get through any level. Even just deciding on a level was hard work. And there was only like 8-minute breaks or something like that, so there's a very limited amount of work that people could actually do. I wanted to talk about the disappointing things, and we're just rolling up there.
Yeah? Oh, okay.
And I wanted like there to be 3 things because things are always better in 3s.
There are probably more than 3 things though.
There probably are actually. I think you're right.
Okay, the first one, my personal disappointing thing during DreamHack, I like ever since I stepped foot in Sweden until I was back in Portugal, I did not find a McDonald's. That's my disappointing thing.
I thought you were on like the same wavelength as me, and we were going to talk about exactly the same top 3. But I mean, that must be your top 3 all in one.
Yeah, pretty much,
That's a catastrophe, if anything.
It is.
Your favorite moments of people were favorite champion Ghislaine, favorite weapon Shast.
Yeah.
That bit was good, actually. I enjoyed that. Okay, disappointing things. I mean, I'm kind of just got this in here to round things up a little bit, but Avec not making it through groups, I think that's a shame.
Yeah.
Obviously, not everyone's going to make it.
Yeah, to be fair, he had the group of that, and I still think he played pretty well, but it was a little sad he didn't make it through the groups.
Yeah. I think that's out of like big names that you see in the playoffs. I think that's one that would have really rounded up super nice. Oh, actually, I'm talking about good performances. Pikawa making it as far as he did. I mean,
really
it might look like we're talking about his success coming off someone else's failure, but the fact that he did it is huge props to him. So we should definitely forget to mention that name.
Pikawa is now the best Polish player.
Whoa, man! I don't know if I'm ready to agree with you on that. Because to be honest, in the end, he had a weak group. But I'll talk about his group a little bit later because my number 2 disappointment is Latromi and Claus. And it's a pretty big deal.
It is a pretty big deal. They were favored by everyone to win the tournament. I mean, by everyone, I say the people who actually know the game, not the Twitch chat, because you guys had like 35% on odds. When even like the stacked guys thought they were going to lose. Yeah, I think that like a performance mostly comes due to lack of practice, as we mentioned earlier. Both Ron and Silence App were in our highlight list, and they were having the tournament of their careers pretty much.
They weren't playing the Slash or the Anarchy, which was expected to be way more impactful, and you could see that they were making mistakes all the time. Latromi was constantly running the Soul back to base when the base was full of enemies, and there was just no real coordination there. It seemed like panic. It seemed just clear unpreparation, and even sort of mechanically looking a little bit less sound.
Even damage-wise, when you have like the 2 callers getting like almost twice as much done as the 2 players with the most combat skill in their teams, something is obviously wrong.
Yeah. And then look at Claus, like he bombed out of groups and duel.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a surprise that he cares less about duel than the team mode. But you let your team down by not practicing. You're letting yourself down a bit. Sure, if you're not personally bothered, that's fine. I know you probably have fans out there though, Claus, and people who hope you do well. And Claus was, in a pick for me for top 4. All he had to do was practice a bit to achieve that. And then when I realized, oh, he's not practicing, he suddenly sort of faded away from my expectations. And then obviously Noctis, we didn't mention him. He did a great job getting through BYOC. I'm pretty sure he crushed Claus in the group stage. It was just like a bit, it was just making us a bit miffed as to how the hell all of this happened and how everything went so wrong for 2Z when they really, I think the last week before the event they didn't practice at all, and that's actually when a lot of the teams made a lot of progress in that time, and so they didn't really know what they were up against anymore. So it was really not smart by Latromi and Claus to do that. And I think Silence Weapons Ron would have to have a lot of patience with them to want to continue playing with them. I mean, I can only speculate. I don't really know what plans are in the future. But, I mean, that's another of these big red flag for me as someone who I would have to play with if they're just not willing to practice.
Yeah. That is true, because they started like practicing 3 weeks before the event, and 1 week before the event they were like, okay, we're done.
Yeah.
It's not the best mindset to have.
Well, have you got anything else to add on Claus and Latromi? I've also got a bloody Claus hoodie actually, and I wish it was Ron's now. Like I'm properly tilted.
Oh my god, that's why. You jinxed it. Now I figured it out. That's why I shouldn't have given you that hoodie.
No, or at least give me after,
Yeah. Either way, still on the players. I think the other disappointment for both of us.
Wait, Noctis, he's a frag away from winning 2-0 versus Rafa as well. Bloody hell. I forgot how close that was. But yeah, should we round off our disappointing thing? Because
yeah, I think the other one for me personally would be Razy not making it through groups.
I think one of the reasons that this is like the #1 disappointment is because I know this, it's just him on his own, whereas Latromi and Claus are 2 people. The difference is that Razy's actually a paid professional who's got a contract. I have no idea how much he earns, but his job is to be prepared for these events and to do well. And he's also come off a string of successes that should lead him to a positive outcome at this event, which could be life-changing money for a guy based in Hungary. To get through these big tournaments. Probably expected a top 4 performance, I think, if he continued that kind of trend of practice that he had going into Denver. And he just sucked. He was just really, really shit. And
ouch.
I mean, he was. And you know what's really... Because I know how little he practiced. Like, they barely were able to practice...
practicing a lot.
No, they were barely able to practice the sacrifice because he plays with the Maestro team. And I'm like, all right, you're a paid player and you're also impeding your teammates from being able to practice their mode because you're not turning up. Now, I've got to say, there's obviously sensitive topics around here and reasons why there's no practice going on. And part of it is the fact that he's got a girlfriend. Now, I think a lot of us will have been through this period where we've get into a relationship and early on it's all blissful and, you're in that kind of honeymoon period where it's, really nice and you feel like spending all the time in the world with that person. But I think the reality of the situation is that should definitely not have taken such a priority when, it's like having a 9-to-5 job or something. Like, that's what you should be doing with your practice. Maybe you can practice at, better times. But I feel like that's such a mismanagement of time and just such a personal cost, because I was talking about DDK actually, like in CS, if you don't practice for a month, you are out of the game. You're out of the loop completely in tournaments for quite a long time because everyone else is still plugging away and practicing and working on the strats.
And CS is quite an already established game. In the game as new as Quake, where everything advances in a matter of a week, if you don't practice, you're going to be left out.
Yeah. And
even
in
more.
The 3-4 weeks that Razy's missed out on, you could see how far everyone else had run away from him. And you still, even though some people say that, and they're probably right, that this is not quite as deep, what there is to do in Quake Champions Duel compared to Quake Live Duel. There's still a level of complexity there that you've got to keep practicing, and that you've got to keep yourself up to date on, being disciplined in these fights and, making the right decisions. And I just saw him getting raged. I saw his game versus Pikawa, and he just didn't look like himself. He was being way too emotional. He's usually, got his head screwed on and nothing shakes him off his game, but he just didn't look like he was playing right. No. It was, I honestly, I was embarrassed for him, because it was like going from star of Quake to becoming irrelevant, and also the fact that he's getting paid for that. I know there's other people out there who would have put in a lot more effort and would have, probably deserved their salary a bit more. So, gotta give it to them hard though, don't we, Ince? Otherwise, yeah, that's it. I wanted to make the call out, but I think it is still important. Razy has been playing the running around aiming game. People make less mistake now, and the style of Razy doesn't work anymore. He needs to stabilize his game, says Sparty. Yeah, I absolutely think so. But that's why I think if he practiced for that month leading up to Dreamhack Winter, he probably would have he would have seen what everyone else was doing, and he probably would have gotten through groups at least. There's no way he should have lost to Pikawa. Absolutely no way.
True.
Have you got anything else to add on any disappointments or that topic itself?
Well, if we're moving away from players, then yeah, I think both of us have a little disappointment.
Do we?
Yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about. I was disappointed that we didn't get a chance to, and I think we were both disappointed that we didn't get a chance to learn what was going to be happening next with the game. Yeah. In Quake Champions, I thought this is a great little, it's a great platform that we had at Dreamhack Winter, where we had thousands of people watching the tournament, and I know that on the dev streams,
which is awesome.
We had the dev stream as well.
Running around.
We've had the dev stream where we've had some nice announcements and stuff, but that's never getting more than like 1,300 people watching. We had times where we had like 5,000 to 8,000 people. Then right at the finals, we had over 20,000 people because of a generous host. Yeah. And I feel like that would have been such a great time to tell people about what's next, what's happening again. Why should people be getting hyped and super interested in the game? And I was kind of like, I was left a little bit deflated because we didn't have more.
It feels so like this Dreamhack felt so much like the end of something, rather than what it could have been like the start of the next year. It's I don't like the feeling so much.
Yeah,
I'm sure I've got some really there.
Lewd and crude analogies to make, but I don't know. I felt like I was being brought to the edge, and then no news. And I was like, I was kind of just like left.
Not even of the new patch. Like, we know there's a new patch incoming. We don't know when.
Yeah.
We know that next year probably has tournaments, but we have no idea which tournaments or when. So we're just walking around with nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. It felt like there should have been something there. I even tried to plug, like, guys, we're on like the final stream. I was like, guys, we're in early access on Steam. Come by. I hopefully like another person brought it or something like that. But it would be great if we had just like, even if it's just like a small 30-second video or something like that to show. Now, I'm not saying it's the end of the world at all. It's not. I just felt that was just something that I was slightly disappointed in, that, they didn't take advantage of, all the other great work they had done to just, put the icing on top, if you can call it that way.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there's people in chat that actually have their own like thoughts of the tournament or stuff that we can discuss or bring up as well, because obviously loads and loads and loads of stuff happened throughout the event, and I'm trying to think if there's anything that I missed off my little list, to be fair.
I mean, disappointments and highlights, I don't really have anything more to add. I mean, highlights, if you want to talk about the best games,
yeah.
Then yeah, there's a lot we can talk about there. I can just say like the best sacrifice game I've seen was the TZ versus Stack game. That game was amazing to watch.
Yeah, that was really, really good. I also liked the WinRAR versus Stacked game.
Sadly, there are no VODs of that because it wasn't streamed and I didn't get to watch it.
Yeah,
I really wanted to watch that game.
That was a shame. But 2Z versus Stacked was even better, and that did get streamed, which is good.
Yeah.
And someone's actually said there is a stream tomorrow, by the way, a community stream. Tomorrow, I can't remember what time it's like in the evening UK time on the Quake Champion stream. So I just wanted, just before we fade even further away from what we were talking about a moment ago, yeah, I think that match is way ahead of anything else in terms of sacrifice that we've seen before, and really showed the intensity that it can have. And I think also allowing other people to empathize with the players a bit in terms of the intensity of the game, because
like
sacrifice is often very intense all the time, but you don't always see it that way.
Yeah. Do you remember like the last 2 minutes? It was like 99 to 99 and just stuff going around. There was like 2 power-ups during the 99-99, which nobody could cap.
And I think that GDK was like suffocating on his words because there's just so much going on and there's so much hype happening. Holy shit. Sepp, thank you very much for the host, bro. Hope you're doing well. Best duel game. That was quite a lot. And I mentioned how only 2 matches. Okay, wait, there was Noxus Pokawa and the grand final that were wipes. Everything else was 2-1 in the playoffs. I
would say, for me personally, Kilson versus the Hang.
Yeah. That was
great.
Sepp
just said that as well. Like, it was a 2-2. I mean, it was a 1-1 and went to the last round. The 5th round was on overtime, and Kilson, like, the Hang hit him with 1 more nail than Kilson did. And that won the Hang the game. And it was even a mutual frag, right? And I didn't know who had won until, like, one of them, Kilson stood up and he looked really sad. Then I realized, okay, he lost.
It's the first one on the kill feed that decides that.
That was just a really, really sick game.
Yeah, but I think that Kilson kind of threw a little bit in that game because I don't think it should have gone down to a tiebreaker. He won the first map, didn't he?
Yeah, and then he lost the second.
What he did on Corrupted Keep completely baffled me, because the amount of times he got to Hang to use his shield and didn't have like a super strong stack, and then he decided that he would rather control the items and get like plus 30 or 40 to his armor stack or something like that than push for the kill. 3 times over it happened in 1 round. Like,
in ZTN, I understand that Clutch can get away with it because it's a really closed map and it's easy for Clutch. Even if he doesn't have the shield, he still has a huge stack and 1 rocket would kill you. But on Corrupted Keep, it's a really open map. Yeah. If you get Clutch to use a shield, you really need to be punishing him a lot.
Yeah, I was just completely amazed and annoyed really, because I wanted Kilson to try and help lock off the EU standings.
Yeah, speaking of Kilson, he's now ranked #1 in the world in plus forward rankings. Actually, like the top 4 are the top 4 of Dreamhack. It's Kilson in #1, then the Hang, Cypher, Rafa,
Kilson
and
wasn't
Ox.
in top 4.
Except Kilson.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. Yes, correct. You're right. He's dropped down a little bit, but he was so far ahead already. And I still think Kilson is possibly one of the best duelers. I just think that he got in his own head a little bit, because I think there were errors made there that cost him the game. What's that? My own, because that probably was objectively the best duel. I was kind of gutted with Toxic and Cypher. Cypher had like these mouse problems, didn't he, or something like that? I don't. Really...
Yeah, his mouse stopped working and he had to switch the mouse. So instead of like his WMO, he switched to a Zowie EC2A or something, and he was still aiming quite well, but it's still unfortunate.
It's gonna throw you off your game hugely. Doing
Sparky
that. He
also had those problems. Not mouse though. I think
he had a
his
monitor issue, I think.
Yeah, he had monitor going red or something the last map or in the last round, which is very disheartening as well.
Yeah. I gotta say, shout out to Cypher for actually making it that far. So I didn't think he would make top 4. So I think he did very well to get there. And Astro Boy put up a really good fight against him, I think. I can't remember how the last map... I think the last map might have been a bit more one-sided on rounds, but I know that Astro Boy surprised a lot of people by taking a map. But we were denied the Cypher versus Rafa final. I don't know if we'll get that in Quake Champions. I'm sure one day. It's not impossible.
I mean, if both of them get to the final sometime, so far it doesn't happen.
Yeah. What do you think about this whole Cooler as well? He got beaten by Zron, and I know that Cooler was very prepared for duel, and I know that Zron was, He's very prepared for Quake, but he wasn't hugely prepared for Duel.
I mean, I think that comes more down to Zron playing out of his mind and Cooler playing bad. Because Zron, I think you guys mentioned on the stream, is like the kind of player, he prepares a lot and he's just pretty much ready for anything. I think like any mode that comes out, Zron's going to be playing at the top level, competing at the top level with whoever. Because he's really dedicated. He understands the game really well. He has the combat skills on top of it. So, and he's still young, you know, he has the time to put in. So I think he's always going to be playing really well. And I think the further Quake advance, I think we're going to see more and more Thrawn. Yeah. Hopefully at later stages of the tournaments as well.
I hope so. I definitely hope so. He was. I was spending some time after him. He was on the coach back as well to the airport, and he's saying he's going to go harder, a lot harder on Duel.
Yeah, but Romy said so as well, because Andy really had to after not practicing. He said he was now going to start practicing for the next tournament already.
Yeah, well that would be great to see. Hal.
That would be great before.
Thank you, Hal. Yeah, it would have been like, could you have just not made that mistake? Would have been way better. Thanks very much for the sub, Hal. Hope you're doing well, man. That threw me. Someone said something. Cypher had Sparty said Cypher had problems day before Dreamhack with his mouse, but kept playing with it. So I don't. These are such like weird little moments. Why don't you just not play with the mouse that gives you trouble? That if you've got there's like a 15% chance that this mouse is gonna like fuck things up at LAN. Just don't play with it.
That's the same thing Toxic did at QuakeCon, isn't it? He went there, even in the regionals, goes there, the mouse breaks, and he has to play with a new one. And suddenly that throws him off his game a little bit.
Yeah. Just practice on reliable technology.
And now that, yeah, exactly. And now that mice don't even make that much of a difference anymore, because there's like so many mice with the same shape and the same weight and everything. Just use the one that doesn't give you problems. Yeah. Like this isn't like 15 years ago where you have like one good mouse and the rest of them just skip pixels and everything. That's a lot of good thing.
Yeah. Although I know that the 3.0 and the WMO and stuff like that are still very attractive. I'm still waiting for the new 3.0 coming out, which has been announced, so I'm definitely going to get that. But anyway, that's beside
Won't they call it like 5.0 or something? Because it went from 1.1 to 3.0. There wasn't a 2.0 there.
I don't know. So maybe there was one, but like people, I don't actually know why.
Maybe it was just for consoles.
Mice. It's like they were never designed for gaming, as far as I know. They were just gamers are like, ooh, these sensors work really nice, and they make us win stuff, which has always been a benefit. But there's an 85% chance it will make you play 0.0001% better. And that's what you do. If it feels a little bit more like you, it's an extension of your body, the mouse. And if you feel like it's part of your arm, then maybe that's why it's difficult for these players to move away from these mice. But otherwise, I mean, I think we've covered a lot of factors over here. I know we didn't mention every single player in the tournament. There was a lot to go through. I'm still waiting to get players like Strengths and Evil and so on to. Actually, I got something else.
Get out of
BYOC and to do stuff. I think Evil was a lot closer. I saw some Evil games towards the end of BYOC, and he was very close to qualifying. Strengths not so much. Garpy didn't go through BYOC, but that's also what tilted me a lot about Razy, is the fact that Garpy did work hard and was playing at a high level. He came second at Denver. Razy got his spot because he won Denver, and yet. Like, he could have given that spot to pretty much anybody else and they would have deserved it, I just felt like it was almost like a diss to the tournament as on top of to the person paying the salary. So that just tilted me. I was like, put Garpy in there, he'd make it out of groups. He's playing with if he played with Zron, Pikawa and Sane, I'm like, he could either win that group or come second.
I mean, he probably would, but still, I think Groups is higher skilled than BYOC.
Oh yeah, it is, and if you go in the BYOC, and I think in terms of seeding as well, like BYOC seeding wasn't like top seeding, even though we had some top players there. Yeah. But it still counted for a bit, and it's also, I think, the reason why we got some really emotional group. What do you think of Base actually?
I didn't really see any of his games.
He beat Astro Boy, but he lost to Dewey and Kilson.
He beat Astro Boy?
Yeah, for what I can see. Yeah, and Astro Boy still got second through the group. I think that was because of a map win that he got versus Kilson that was played on the stage earlier in the day, on day 1.
I think Astro Boy had really good performance. I mean, I don't think any of the other players had amazing performance. Like Basie might have beaten Astro Boy, but I don't think he played good enough for us to notice him. Same with Dewey.
Yeah.
Nosfa took a map from Cypher, but didn't really manage to achieve much more elsewhere. Griffin didn't really see much of him. Same with Sane.
Nice.
Everyone else.
Sane managed to beat Zron, which was good for him.
That was like the first game or something.
Yeah, the first match of the tournament was Nosfa Cypher, and I think it's glad that at least Nosfa, with all his timing, he gets to take that little accolade that he beat Cypher on a map on land. I think that's quite nice.
That's pretty cool.
Sparty, I think, was making a point about Razy for a second, if I can find that bit. Oh, he said the base underperformed at Dreamhack. It was playing really well before, apparently. Okay, interesting. I think he said something as well about Razy hasn't played long enough to really like keep the skill level. I think that's it, because you get a lot of the pro guys, and Noxus is a good example. He's played the game for so long, and he's played at such a high level that he doesn't need to go completely ham in practice to know that he's going to feel good. Like, that skill is at that point like riding a bike, because he's been doing it for so long. He'll just jump back on it and he'll be fine. Whereas for Razy, I almost compare it to myself in a way. Like, if I practice, I'll get to a level. It's not a top level, but it's I'd say an all right level. But I'm never going to keep that or build on it unless I keep practicing hard. If I stop, then the skill level will drop immediately. And I think that's what happened with Razy. Like, he hasn't played enough Quake for it to just stay there, and that he can fall back on that skill. It was kind of like
harder. For he managed to establish that skill level and feel comfortable with it, and you really need to grind it out a lot more.
Yeah, just keep grinding. Just keep grinding. That's all there is. And it says on Liquipedia, it doesn't say who the observer was, and I know that J Twitch M in chat. That was the observer.
So if you guys spectated a lot of, if you guys had a lot of time on dead bodies on sacrifice, that's the guy you have to wind.
Pardon?
If they spectated a lot of corpses on sacrifice,
oh, okay, yeah.
Just wind to him.
Instinct Berlin says, what do you think will happen now without big LAN events announced? Everyone going back to the games? I don't know. I think people are expecting, and I think making some
everyone's expecting an announcement, you know, like.
Yeah, we're all
they
on
still
the
have
edge
a couple
of
of weeks. It's Christmas now, so it's fine. It's a little break, but they have to announce something soon.
Yeah, because we've been given like clues and stuff, like, you know, to be confirmed, and you know, things moving in the pipeline, and CTF coming next year, and you know, Duelers changing as it is. You know, not just update stuff, but things like alluding to more tournaments, and yet nothing is kind of like concrete for the players. And I think it would be really good for the players to learn stuff. One Art says tomorrow, yeah, I'm gonna be like tuning in, like violently close to that, and listening to every single sentence that's uttered, because I hope that more, not just clues are given, but actual like solid information is given on something, be it the esports side, be it the development side, just something. Patch will not be this week. We'll talk about it on stream tomorrow. Okay, apparently there's a special guest. I think the special guest is. Wait, are we meant to know the special guest?
I don't know. Guest.
No, I'm doubting mine, but I think like, because is it the community one or is it the developer one?
Community one.
Oh, it's the community one. I think like Tim or Sinclair or 04 or someone like that is jumping on the stream.
That's nice.
Like something along those lines. And imagine they'll be playing some more games. It'll be Strikes. Oh my god, please. Please.
That would be funny to see.
That would no.
That would be really funny to see. If you're not from Quake, that's really funny to see.
Interesting bus driver. Maybe they just want to get things concrete first before they go out and spew all that information, because we've got some big teams right now in Quake. We've got Na'Vi, we've got Virtus Pro, we've got Team Liquid, Maestro are growing as well. I wouldn't call them a big team, but they're a team that's obviously shown their commitment. and Alliance on top of that, then there might even been more that I'm missing. But let's get these teams really actively involved, and Team Liquid for sure, like winning the events. That's actually quite a good little news banner for Quake Champions. It gives a little bit more exposure right there. But anyway, we've been going for almost an hour, Ints. I will get this up on YouTube tonight so that people can watch and listen who weren't able to make it live to the stream. Have you got anything you'd like to? We've got a couple of minutes at least. Anything that we want to?
I just like to praise. Astro Boy and Dron again for getting the top 8. Both of them played really well, especially Astro Boy, because I think he didn't lose to anyone like 2-0. He was all of his games were 2-1. Even managed to beat Sparty and then lose 2-1 versus I think it was Cypher, right, in the quarter. So he's playing really well. He got the same result he had in QuakeCon 2011 under the name of Dandy King, which was like top 5-8.
Saw like how much money he took. Took home 7.5k as well. It's alright.
Pretty good.
Can't complain.
And I do hope to see both of these players going further and further as Quake advances, both Dandy King and Dron.
Yeah. They're people I'm definitely looking out for. I think that Silence Up as well is going to be a big gun. I don't think we'll ever see him in duel though.
Yeah, we're never going to see him in duel, sadly.
But I think as a team player, I think the guy's going to be out of his mind. And I hope that at one point in time when, the infrastructure of the esports in Quake does establish itself a bit more, and you have got these, these slots in the seasons where there are player transfers and stuff. There's definitely players like you've named and Sunsep as well, who I think are some of many individuals that I'll hold quite a high value if we can get the game to that stage. So yeah, we can only hope. Someone's mentioning about Lakerman here. Was he at the event? He's a Swede. I don't know. He's contributed to the community before as well.
I have no idea if he was there.
I will float out. I won't go too off topic of Dreamhack Winter, guys. I know there's a lot of other discussion there. I don't know if I have any other announcements. Tomorrow I'm just going to be watching the community stream. I've got nothing scheduled, but there are duel events and 2v2 and stuff like that over the weekend that I plead you guys to come watch and check out. I'll have announcements and stuff on social media. Are you planning to do anything this weekend, Ince?
I'll probably play the 2v2.
Oh yeah? Who's going to be your magic little partner?
Not you.
Oh, well, I guess as much. Who are you going to play with?
I don't know. I was going to play with Memphis, but Memphis won't be around until Monday. So I don't know. I was going to play with Sirius, but he says he doesn't want to ditch his mate to play with me, even though I'm better. So if his mate is listening, go away.
That's Picasso there, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I want to talk about something about WinRAR actually, just really fast, because it was pretty unlucky of them how the brackets turned out in the sacrifice playoffs, because both them, Modus Operandi and One Sad, they were the second place team in the groups, and sadly for WinRAR, they went versus Stacked, which got first place in the groups. So I think if WinRAR would have gotten versus One Sad or Modus Operandi, they would have reached the semi-finals. So I think that was pretty unlucky.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for them.
But I think that was more due to them wanting to have the brackets NA versus NA and EU versus EU than anything else.
I don't know how that got made, to be honest. I think Modus Operandi did really well because they had some very, very close maps as well with Team
And
Liquid.
They almost lost to us. You remember that game? You were watching behind.
Did you have like one round where you did really well?
We had 2 rounds where we went to like 90, and there was one. Avik, like, he was really sad after not going through the duel.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, we're not gonna beat these guys." And in like the first map, we got crushed. Then in the second map, we got like 80 or 90 in the first round, and then in the next one, we had like 94% versus 70. And Avik just goes super serious, starts shouting, "Guys, don't peek now. We're gonna win. And he got so happy. And everyone in our team just peeked, and we all died, and Dreams was destroyed. But that was really funny there.
To be fair, you actually had a really nice and interesting team. Like, if
It
you knew
was.
at all that you were gonna play together before the event, if you practice, you maybe actually could have been quite good.
You should have seen our game after versus the Chileans, because that was like right after Silence App gave every of us like a little lesson, and we were playing so well by then. If
Yeah.
we had that lesson before, we would have gotten through groups
Yeah.
easily.
I will say it's a big shame actually for the Chileans because I was super excited to see them play, but they genuinely had nobody to practice with. They turned up to the event and they just like, we're not ready. Like we're here because we've got this great opportunity to be here thanks to the qualifiers and everything, but there's just nobody to practice with. Not a single scrim could they set up at all. It's possible to do like duels, but no sacrifice.
If it was maybe two South American teams, maybe they would have practiced with each other. But like South American teams just formed for the qualifier, and after only one goes through, there's really no reason for the other ones to stick around because there's nothing more announced. So they were alone. Like, they were pretty alone there.
I think that's a shame, but that also shows like the challenges you've got when growing the competitive scene like globally. It is pretty damn challenging to do. And sorry, like that's Koziel who's making these noises and I can't turn them off. So
Koziel, please.
Yeah, Koziel, please back off for like just 2 minutes. That'd be great. Did someone else bring something else up? Like they wanted to talk about the other American teams. Yeah, 1Z. I actually really dug them. I thought they were really good, but it's hard when you have got the likes of Liquid Stacked and 2Z there.
I still think WinRAR would have beaten both of them.
Do you reckon? I reckon WinRAR versus Modus Operandi would have been really
that would have been a really entertaining game.
Yeah. I was actually expecting Stacked and Liquid to be a lot closer than it was. I don't know.
I think that's that's the problem. I think even if 2Z was playing well versus Stacked, I think they would have fallen versus Liquid. I think both 2Z and Stacked had this little bit of rivalry, which didn't let them aim higher than beating the other one. I think they were practicing to beat each other, both of them, and
right. I think you're right.
They
actually
completely overlooked the Americans.
Yeah.
And the Americans, they just practice to play perfect.
I mean, trying to try for perfection as well. I mean, I say people. I was trying to like Zron was like, I wasn't trash talking, but he was like obviously not concerned about the Americans, more making sure that they're a level above the Europeans, because he felt that that's where the skill base is and everything like that. And I was like, dude, just see how fast they learned how to just play Sacrifice at QuakeCon from their first game to the last.
We've said it a lot of times, like Americans in objective-based games, they are really good. Even if they're sometimes behind on the fragging power, like TDM side of the game, their communication coordination is always spot on, which is why if Sacrifice kept going, I think we'd probably see more American teams take over.
Mm-hmm. And I think one of the final things that we can go on is that there is a small EU versus NA rivalry. I think sometimes on stream we blow it a bit more out of proportion than it actually is, but it's definitely it definitely still exists. And I know that me, Machiavelli, and the other guys at the desk, we do like to joke back and forth about all that stuff. But at the same time, guys, NA took Duel and NA took Sacrifice. This isn't fucking good enough, okay? We need to step it up.
Wins is European.
That's true.
And he was carrying, he was carrying really hard alone. I think everyone else from America, they played awful. It was just wins alone.
Do you know how when there was the interview of Shane on the desk after, and I asked the question something about who would you give on MVP? I was just like, think of a question, just make sure you've got something to say when it inevitably goes to you. So I asked a question about who would you give MVP? He said Waz or Dahang. He didn't say wins.
Yeah.
Waz or Dahang.
Like, are you kidding me? Wins just hit 2 minutes. He was for 2 minutes not missing a single rail on stream.
I mean, it's hard to like say that's the overriding accomplishment in our whole team, because that's the thing that happened to be on camera. Whereas there's a lot of other people playing at the same time. I think Ferret he can Rafa can say what the hell he likes. That's fine. But just a little niggle out there that I'll point out. But yeah, Euros, we've got to step it up a little bit for the next event. Hopefully the patch is going to change some stuff, and we're kind of all going to be on a sort of clean slate where we have to build up together. But Liquid, I think, in terms of their drive and their determination and just the structure of their practice, I think is probably better than the way a lot of other people do it. So yeah, let's Let's not embarrass us. Let's not allow Machiavelli to do the stuff that he's doing on stream, okay?
It was really nice to meet Machiavelli. Actually, I don't know how he does it, but the guy is always super happy, super full of energy. He's such a nice guy to be around.
Yeah. No, he is a fun guy, and he's very loud and proud, and I know he's sensible as well with the EU-NA rivalry. There's always hugs afterwards, even if it looks like war on stream. I'm gonna have a look at that after the stream, actually. Tailwhipper. Another highlight. I met Tailwhipper.
Same.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And Grab the Mega.
And he was super nice. You met Grab the Mega.
Yeah.
Oh, I met Grab the Mega. I met No Turn. I met Mikkel and people, but Tailwhipper is the real
Mikkel as
MVP.
well there.
Yeah. Mikkel probably had like too many, lemonades, but Tailwhipper, I mean, he was an absolute boss. It was awesome meeting Tailwhipper. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna close that one out. Ints, thank you for joining me on this little recap. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and thank you for all the subs and follows. I've noticed there's been a fair few of you. Go tune into the Quake Champions stream. It's literally twitch.tv/Quake Champions. Tomorrow evening, it'll be like 6 p.m. UK time, I think, and I will announce stuff happening on the weekend over social media and on Discord. Just type !Discord. Guys, have a great night.
Yeah.